everybody. We did it. We made it to Wednesday night, the week
day.
More than halfway over. And you know what that means? It's time for a cheers and a much deserved glass of wine. Hey, I'm Keels. This is Courtney. We are members of the Crescent Lake Club, and we are here for another Wednesday night wine down. And tonight, I think we have a pretty fun one in store. It's been kind of fun for us to brainstorm some things to do differently and some new things to try out as we're kind of working on our streaming skills and honing everything. So this week, our theme is one of our favorite places that I cannot wait to get back to, which Courtney is going to be at far sooner than I am. It is the in-park bar with the best music. I don't care what people say. I love you. It's BaseLine Taphouse at Hollywood Studios. And so tonight, Courtney loves red wine, and so she's picked a red wine that you can find at BaseLine Taphouse.
Yeah.
So it's really great.
So tonight I picked, you can see it a little bit, it's called 39, line 39. And I do enjoy reading about the vineyards when I can. And even just reading the back of the bottle, it's cool how they got their name. It's inspired by the 39th parallel, which runs through the heart of California's wine country. So I think that's cool how they got their name. This is a very accessible wine price point wise. You can get a glass at BaseLine Taphouse for $10 to $12 or $10 on tap.
Yeah.
But you can also buy the whole bottle locally for between $8 to $12, depending on your vendor. I bought it at a local grocery store here in New Orleans for $9.99. But it was also available at our local Total Wine and More for, what was it, like $6 something or $8 something?
They had a distributor special on it too.
Yeah.
And it was
really
smooth.
Super inexpensive at Total Wine and More. So that tells me it's probably pretty widely available at a really low price point. But again, you can also get it at BaseLine Taphouse for $10 on tap. I love the whole on tap wine thing. I'll certainly drink a beer, but wine on tap is really cool. So it's certainly not a fancy bottle. It's not a fancy wine, but for a $10 bottle, for a $10 glass on tap at BaseLine Taphouse, like Keely said, when you're sitting out listening to music, enjoying some charcuterie, it's a pretty great wine.
Yeah, and it's for, I know the price point kind of throws people off. And especially for me, I'm not as much into the red wine as Courtney is. I think I tend to default to certain white wines and rosés, and Courtney goes red wine first. But this one is really, really great. It's really clean and bright. It's very fruit forward. It's very juicy. That nothing really lingers on my palate much. I can definitely taste the currant and the blackberry and plums, a little bit of pepper. But like I said, it's really smooth. It goes down nice and easy. The vineyard says that it would pair well with chocolate. I mean, what red wine doesn't go good with chocolate?
Right.
With cheese and pretty much all versions of meat. From steak, I think this would go really great if you're making like a pot roast or a braised short rib, or even, some like pulled pork would be nice.
Yeah.
Something that's just a slow roasted, juicy, salty meat because it's nice and bright.
Yeah, like Keely said, it's not heavy. It's easy to drink. Definitely very fruit forward. Cabernet Sauvignon is not my favorite red wine. I do prefer red wine in general. Cabernet Sauvignon is not my favorite, but I like it. It's up there. But this is a good Cabernet.
I almost feel like this may lean more towards like Zinfandel in the juicy, fruity flavor profile. And it even smells like really fruity, almost like fruit punch, but not like too cloying. No, it's really delicious. So yeah, now that I know that's on draft or on tap, I don't want to say
on tap.
Tap, I'll have to mix it up because usually my favorite thing, my pro move at BaseLine, because they do have a full bar, is they've got this great organic black cherry soda that's also on the tap wall. So I get that with a little bit of Tito's, kind of mix it up and just do my Tito's with everything, but Tito's and black cherry soda for a hot day, this for a cold day, or this with what I think we all pretty much agreed on a previous episode. One of the best low-key, price point things for food in any park that's high quality and high level. The charcuterie plate from BaseLine Taphouse usually comes up in any conversation you have about that, especially because it's only like $12. I want to say it's ridiculously inexpensive for what you get. I'm calling up the menu right now. So
maybe not super COVID friendly if you're sitting with people outside of your pod, but you probably shouldn't be sitting with people outside your pod anyway.
Then also during COVID times at BaseLine, they have basically taken the benches and stools and put big stickers on every other table. So you're pretty much spaced out at BaseLine. Yeah. So rope drop BaseLine if you're interested in going to get a glass of this delicious wine, because with the spacing, I want to say when we were there in November, we waited in line for a little bit, but once we grabbed a table and sat down, the line was almost to the little Stonebridge tunnel where you go into Galaxy's Edge. So it can get popular. Do they have a
virtual queue, or you have to wait in line?
You just wait in line, and there's stickers on the ground, so you're really spaced out. And they have 2 queues, and they've got a guy that's standing at the door, and he puts hand sanitizer on your hands and only lets you in when a bartender is ready. So another pro tip from me to everyone else out there: Disney's put all their menus online. This does not offer mobile ordering, but you can't, because it's COVID times, you can't go in and ask for samples of all the beers like you could in previous times. So they've got little plastic shields up in front of everything, or plexiglass shields. So just kind of have your order ready, because it is a popular place and lots of people want to get in and get their flights and keep going on with their day. So know before you go. You're going to have plenty of time. You're going to have 20 minutes at least when you're waiting in line to get in there. Get a game plan.
And for Keely and our other white wine drinkers out there, they do also have a white on tap. They have a St. Francis Chardonnay, which also is $10. But since it was my choice of wine this week, I went with the red. And I think it was a good choice.
I think it is too. It's really delicious. Like I said, I'm very surprised just at how bright and fresh and fruity it is. Mm-hmm. Really enjoying this. So I opened mine up earlier and left so I could try it when I was doing the notes, and I left it uncorked just to kind of see if it needed to open up at all. I honestly don't think it really needs to decant or anything. It's a 2018, so it's still, that's why I think I get a lot of the Zinfandel feel to it. It's still pretty young grapes. But when I was looking at the tasting notes from the vineyard, from the winery, this consistently ranks Wine Spectator and all the different California wine awards around 95 points. So it's really solid, and for the price point, can't beat it, especially when you can get a bottle for the price of a pour at Disney.
Yeah.
So one of the things I think this would go great with, and I've mentioned before, is the charcuterie plate. So, and like I said earlier, we've been trying new things. So I thought I would share with you guys how to recreate the BaseLine Taphouse charcuterie plate at home, mostly because I figured out how to recreate those little crack toasts. And anyone who's ever been with me to have this cheese plate knows that you need to go ahead and just ask for more of them, because I'm going to eat that entire thing of them just by myself. And so after some trial and error, I've kind of figured it out. And so I recorded this little video. I couldn't figure out how to do a voiceover to it, so I'm just going to kind of narrate along with it as it plays. So if you have questions or anything just let me know in the comments, and we'll just kind of get started. So here's all my preparation. Very COVID friendly. I'm right by my sink, so I was able to wash things off. So I'm going to start with the crack breads. This is just a baguette, and you're going to slice it about no bigger than a half an inch thick. Just because remember, you're going to be piling it up with all these kind of toppings with charcuterie and your different condiments and your cheese. So you want to have a nice size bite, but you also want to have just a little bit of those kind of the airiness and the holes that baguettes have in them. So for this one, I'm just doing however many pieces fit on this little tray, and I have my oven preheated to 375. So what you're going to do is you're going to spray them with extra virgin olive oil spray, and a good amount of it. You can never have too much because you have all those holes and it's going to sink in. Then you just use pink Himalayan sea salt and a lot of it. Just crack it all over that bad boy. Again, I like things that are super, super salty. I'm also grabbing the goat cheese. I'll tell you why. But I'm going to go put it in the oven, and that's at 375 for about 8 to 10 minutes, basically while you're prepping everything else. The reason I'm throwing the goat cheese in the freezer is because I'm going to coat it myself instead of buying one that's already coated. I'm going to show you guys how to do it, but it works a little bit easier if you throw it in the freezer. So the first meat I'm doing is an uncured soppressata. It's going to taste a little bit like pepperoni, but without the zing. And I'm going to cut this about a 1/4 inch thick just because I like my charcuterie that has the kind of nice runs of fat in there just to be a little bit thicker. Also, I went with 2 soft cheeses, so you kind of want things to be a little bit mushier. So you can kind of see how thick I cut that. So in this case, I feel like we had this cheese plate for dinner, the 2 of us. So it's a good meal-sized cheese plate for 2 people, or an appetizer cheese plate for you for a group. And so this is really similar to the cured salami that BaseLine has on their menu. See, I'm cleaning off my knife. Because the next meat that I picked is an uncured dried chorizo, which is going to be a little bit spicier. And it's the same. You can see the kind of speckling of different fat and everything in there. And so I'm going to cut the same thing. Thing to watch with chorizo is it is greasy. Whether it's dried or however, you'll see my hands in just a minute. They're going to be bright orange.
But it's so good.
It's so good. And the great thing about buying these is basically everything that I bought here will make at least two of these plates. So it's going to take me a minute while I wash my hands to kind of clean off all the chorizo fat. So chorizo is going to, again, it's going to have the same kind of texture as pepperoni, but this is going to have more of a red pepper, cayenne kind of spice to it.
I can just imagine how good that would be with this wine right here.
Oh my gosh, it would be so great because of the salt and the spice would really come out.
The fat, yeah.
So I don't like blue cheese. I chose to go with a brie instead. So I'm going to show you how to slice up the brie so it's easier to put on the toasts. You pull it out. Just make sure some of them are going to be wrapped in a thin line of paper. And you can also see the draining lines. That's basically what we're going to cut along. And I don't know why I flipped it back over. I guess it's to make it look prettier and make me look like I know what I'm doing. But so I'm going to use my cheese knife. And what I'm basically going to do is I'm going to cut the rounded edges off so I have a square heart of the brie cheese. And I just set that aside. Don't get rid of those. You're going to want to eat them, or you're going to want to use it for something later. But I like to cut brie this way because it just makes it easier for people, if they don't like the rind, to just pull the cheese out of the center of it instead of digging straight into the heart of the brie cheese to get at it. So I've got it kind of in a square. And again, I'm trying to keep all of my cuts of everything about the same, a 1/4 or a 1/5 of an inch. And you just kind of stack it up. You can eat some. I had to stop myself from just popping a piece in my mouth just because I didn't want you guys to see that or wonder oh, what happened? Where did that piece of brie she's just handling go? So the next cheese I got is actually the Farmhouse Toma cheese that is on the cheese board at, you can see how I'm kind of arranging the rounded bits again. So we're going to go, this is just traditional brie. The next one is the Port Reyes. It's a Farmhouse Toma which Toma is just a fancy name for cheesemonger cheese. It's however they decided to craft it. This one is going to be kind of like a brie and a cheddar had a baby, or a Gouda and a cheddar had a baby. So it's got more of a full flavor to it, but it's soft. And this one, if you have leftovers, would be amazing on a grilled cheese. Just throwing that out there. Or melting a little bit on fries or something like that. But
leftover cheese? That's a thing?
I know. It's between yesterday and today. There is no leftover cheese or charcuterie at my house. So the one thing to note about this Point Reyes Toma is the rind. Now, it has a washed wax rind, which you're going to want to avoid eating. So you can kind of see in there how it's waxy, and then you can see that the writing on it, it looks like a stamp that stayed and the ink won't right away. That's a cheese that you don't want to eat the rind on. So I'm going to cut this one pretty thin just because it's a larger piece, and I'm cutting it in half so I can toss away the rind part on the outside. Just make sure that you can see that there is rind on the top of the triangle.
That's always so embarrassing if you don't know whether you can eat the rind or not.
Yeah, so what I learned in a cheese class that I took is that if the rind isn't waxy and feels almost powdery, and you can see writing and different things on it, but when you touch it with your finger and it wipes off, that's a washed rind. And so it's edible if you like rind. Like the brie rind is an edible rind if you like rind. I don't truly prefer it. That's why I cut it in those square, in the rectangles. Yeah. So it kind of I just get a little bit that holds the brie together to go on my toast. And so the last thing, I'm going to go grab the goat cheese out of the freezer. But first I have a little Tupperware, and I'm going to take just Italian seasoning. That's going to have your oregano, parsley, garlic salt, pepper. Just dump that, basil, any kind of Italian herb is going to be in there. This is when I hit my ring light in my camera, so I'm sorry if it's making you seasick. But because we put the goat cheese in the freezer, it's going to hold its form really, really well for us to drop it into this container of herbs and just roll it around to coat it. I like just enough. I don't like it to be too heavily coated because then I also like to crack pepper and, again, some more of that pink Himalayan sea salt on top of it. But so you just kind of roll it around, tumble it around in there. I think I may come back and add a little bit more herbs to it, and you can do different things. You can do like a garlic and herb blend. I've seen people dice up edible flowers and do that. You can use fresh herbs. I prefer the dry herbs just because once I'm done.
Oh yeah.
Just because once I'm done eating this, I like to mix it up and put it on more on the crostinis to do like goat cheese, croutons, and salad and stuff like that.
If you're more of a sweets person, you can do a compote. I've seen like berry compote on it.
Pepper jelly.
Pepper jelly.
So there, I'm going to come through. I had to go find my pepper shaker. And more of the pink Himalayan sea salt. And so there's your little goat cheese roll. And so now I'm grabbing the cracked toasts out of the oven, and just look at how, well, one, they're hot, but two, they're also perfection.
Yum, yum.
So the charcuterie plate at BaseLine comes with your accoutrement are a grain mustard and cornichons. I like a little bit extra, and just because I kind of mix it up and I have a brie, I brought two other sweet elements for the plate. So first, it's going to start off with old style, just grain mustard. You can pick whatever you like. This one is my favorite one just because it almost tastes like boba pearls or caviar with just the mustard, little mustard seeds in there that just kind of pop in your mouth. I'm sorry I didn't plate this better. I was told it looks like poop. But it's not poop, it's mustard.
That was not me who said that. Joe said
that. No, it was a member of the Crescent Lake Club.
Oh, not me. Not me.
Yeah, I'll let you guess who it was. So these are cornichons. They're probably my second favorite member of the pickle family. And again, I had to stop myself from just popping them straight out of the jar in my mouth. As soon as I finished videoing this, I did leave them open, and then I just had a whole handful.
And this is another reason that charcuterie boards are great to share, because I hate pickles, and so sharing this. Yeah.
So this is great. It's my new favorite discovery. It's whole berry black cherry compote, and I would just eat it with a spoon. It's like it was made to go with brie. And it actually, so I'm putting it over by the sopressata because my perfect bite on this plate is going to be a toast, brie, sopressata, and some of this black cherry. And the last bit that I think every charcuterie board should have is a little bit of honeycomb. And I got this one from the Savannah Bee Company at Disney Springs, but most good grocery stores carry it. And you just scoop a little bit out of there and you can smush it around. It will actually go really great with the goat cheese and the chorizo. So you get the herbs and you get the heat, and you get just a little natural sweet, and then just some grapes because sometimes you just need a little fruit. And almonds. I like nuts with my charcuterie plate. At BaseLine, you can also get, sometimes they have like pralined almonds or pecans. They always have some kind of nut offering. So
yeah, it looks like right now they have a spiced almond, a sweet and spicy spiced almond, which sounds delicious.
That sounds fantastic. And then, rosé.
Cheers. Yeah.
Cheers. And so there you have it. That's my take on the charcuterie board from BaseLine. I picked out a bunch of stuff that kind of fit, but I also went with price point with the exception of the cheese because I knew that was something that BaseLine offers. So the board at BaseLine is going to cost you $10. I did a couple extra pieces of everything. The goat cheese was on sale for $2.50. The toma was $7, and the brie I think was $4.49. And both of the dried and cured meats were around $7. But like I said, everything that I did on there, with the exception of the brie, could basically make two charcuteries. So you're getting 2 or 3 for the price of just one, and it's just something fun when you're missing Disney, like I was this week.
Yeah,
major missing Disney.
Yeah, I always love doing like a appetizer dinner or a like we call it like a stand around dinner, right? You just have stuff like that. Make your own charcuterie board, or with kids, add the extra veggies in, or the peanut butter, or the dips. My husband loves a dip dinner, so it's fun. It's a fun way to shake it up.
Exactly, and it's something that even if you have a little bit left over, you can put it in Ziploc bags or in a Tupperware, and then pull it out again tomorrow. Or take it for lunch to work, and you can still have a little bit of a bougie lunch while you're sitting at your desk, if you still go to a desk, or back when, when COVID is over and you go back to the office. But it was, we both had so much to do last night. I was going to make dinner, and then I got busy editing some stuff, and it was just like, oh, well, we'll just have this board for dinner and be totally fine with it. Yeah. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that. You can always hit me up if you've got any questions or about anything, but I feel like so the one at BaseLine does 2 of the Point Reyes cheeses, and those are both from one country in California. They do a blue cheese and, like I said, the toma, which is just fantastic. It's got full flavor, but it's soft and is a great melting cheese. So I would recommend that.
If we can get into BaseLine at a reasonable time, we will definitely be hitting it up in 2 weeks. Otherwise, I'll have to wait till April.
Rope dropping,
yeah. We'll see about that. We have 4 kids under the age of 5, so we'll see about that.
Whew.
We'll see about that.
So some of the things that we've been hearing are going to potentially affect your trip in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
11 days.
So crazy.
Have you started packing yet?
I have not. I have outfits planned. I have everything planned, but have not started packing. I'm kind of I don't know why. This year's made me very superstitious about planning too early for things and getting my hopes up too much. Like, it just feels like every time in the past year that I've planned for something, it just hasn't happened. So I'm kind of waiting to the last minute to pack because I don't want to get my hopes up too much. Not that we have any reason to think that the trip's not going to happen, just it's 2021. Only months after 2020. So
I think if it was any other state that you were going to, yeah, you probably would have to keep that fear. But it seems like Florida's just like,
whatever.
Come on.
Yeah.
So they got Super Bowl. They want the Olympics. They want anything and everything they can get. So they're just like,
and they want us there. They've lost a big contract. I don't know. It's been a pretty slow news week, but the few things we do have for you are, some of them are pretty epic. But yeah, Disney lost a pretty big contract this year. So they probably want all the guests they can get.
Which is bad news for Disney, but good news for anyone that likes going in the fall months of, say, late October to middle December, when the parks and the values are overrun with our friends, the cheerleaders, and the Pop Warner football teams. So in case you guys didn't see, Pop Warner football end of last week made a big video announcement that they are picking their ball up, and they're taking it to Universal with games to be played at Camping World Stadium. So this is bad news for those of y'all that like going to Universal Orlando Resort in the late fall. But for those who may be looking for a deal, especially at a value, we've got some news coming down the pike from Disney Vacations on February 16th. And I got to think it has something to do with this. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're not aware, there's this huge cheerleading and football competition thing that happens in the fall, Pop Warner. And it's to be frank, it's annoying because they're everywhere. And speaking as a former cheerleader, cheerleaders can be obnoxious. Cheerleaders cheer. Cheerleaders scream and yell and have lots of glitter and hairspray. And they overtake.
Which the glitter thing we're used to here, because
totally fine with that.
Everything is glitter, but it was
I don't recommend people staying in a value resort when the cheerleading competitions are there, just because the running in the halls, and it's nothing to do with Disney. It's the teams themselves and the lack of chaperones, or the lack of control that the chaperones have of these teams, that makes staying in a value at this time almost unbearable. So and
it's not just the rooms that they stay in. A lot of them will book extra rooms to use as team rooms, or places to do group hair, or do stretching, or do small group warm-ups, or routines. It's mostly hair and makeup. So you've got just a revolving door of ladies going in and out. The football guys aren't so bad, because once they leave to go to the practice facility, they're gone. But cheerleading, there is a lot of downtime in cheerleading, and a lot of it is spent at the resort.
So they're not going to be there. So like Keely said, we're told there's going to be a big announcement about something on February 16th. Have they said specifically that it's a promotion?
No, we were just told as agents to be available, or let me take that back. We may get the announcement earlier, but it won't be able to be booked until the 16th. And we are advised to be available to all of our potential clients, past clients, anyone that might be interested in taking advantage of a deal that Disney may have coming out. We've been advised to be ready for this. So, we've kicked around some ideas that we think it could be. We talked about it last week. One of the best deals that I've seen since, September 11th is the buy 3 days of park tickets and get 2 days extra. So I have to imagine, if it's something that we need to be ready for, it's going to be even better than that. You know, I'm thinking it's going to be something like if you book 7 days, you're going to pay. It's not free dining. We know already it's not free dining. And for anyone holding out for dining plans, I wish I had better news for you, but I don't think we're going to see those come back at least this year. There's just not time for
We're not
the
seeing
restaurants and
come
Disney.
back at the rate that I thought we would.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's because of capacity, but like, I mean, looking at dining options for 2 weeks from now, we're just, I'd be honest, I don't want a dining plan right now. I love the dining plan and I wouldn't want one because I'd be forced to eat in park and there's not places I want to eat at. Or there's not enough to justify a dining plan right now.
Right. And then what we're seeing a lot of too, and you know, I've talked about it on previous streams. It's been a lot easier for me for this April trip than it was back in November, because I feel like we're starting to see some of the menus at least come back to what they used to be. But even then, especially for some of those nicer plans that depend on table service, a lot of the menus may have like different side or a different sauce on your preparation, but it's still the same basic: one plant-based, one fish, one chicken, one beef, one alternative meat. And by alternative meat, I mean like pork or bison or something. I don't mean like crazy stuff.
Right.
So here's what I told Courtney that I discovered. If we're going to go back to the restaurant thing. So I was starting to look at ADRs for a certain trip in April. And I wanted to do one day at Magic Kingdom and go through a bunch of places that I worked at previously. And I am able to book reservations through the 12th of April. But Cinderella's Royal Table is not taking reservations after Saturday, April 10th. So do you think we could see a refurbishment coming down? I know today we also had another popular restaurant announce that it is going down for a refurbishment, and that's the Rose and Crown dining room at Epcot. The pub will still be open, but your only chance for fish and chips will be at Yorkshire outside. I don't even know if this means that they're still going to be offering food at Rose and Crown Pub, because it's usually the same menu as the dining room.
And the same kitchen. So are they doing a full kitchen refurb too, or just the dining room?
So it just said the dining room. Now that's going to be really interesting if they take Rose and Crown Pub down, because you've got Festival of the Arts is still going on, and we've got Flower and Garden starts like 2 weeks. 2 weeks after Festival of the Arts ends. So that's some serious.
And luckily, Epcot can handle a restaurant going down because by far they have the most. In normal times they have the most dining options, and even in COVID times they have the most dining options that are open. So they can handle the loss of Rose and Crown as an option. But that's still, that's a big deal. And then Cinderella's Royal Table not being open or not taking reservations in, what'd you say, April?
Saturday, April 10th is the last day you can book
so
far. So I'll keep an eye on that.
We were talking, are they doing some retrofitting to be able to allow the princesses to come back? Are they doing something to prepare for the 50th? Is it D, all of the above? Like they're probably doing something if they're not taking reservations, because they're still charging a pretty penny for you to go dine there, even without the princesses. So they're not taking that revenue stream in. Still $62. Hey, Teets.
Hi, Teetsy. So the reason why I was going to do it is, with maybe one exception, no one has been inside of the castle, and I thought it would be a fun lunch. It was one of the first restaurants I did sets at when I worked at Magic Kingdom. And, if we're going to do, it is on my birthday. So if we're going to do Magic Kingdom and do the whole, this is your life thing, I thought it would be, a fun experience to have lunch in the castle. And before we go and get the heck out of Magic Kingdom, because I don't want to be there anymore, and go do a monorail crawl. And so I watched a recent video from, I guess, Molly at All Ears or Food Blog, whichever one it is now. Maybe the same thing. But Cinderella still just pop out and do a little walk around the perimeter. I'm like, okay, well, that's cute. But yeah, I think I'm on board with you that it's like a retrofit maybe for the 50th, because as much as we're seeing vaccines ramp up and all that, I think we all need to prepare for it to be like this at least through the end of the year.
Do you think it's possible that they are putting in bright pink, like inflatable foam a la the 25th anniversary?
Oh my gosh!
Cinderella's royal table. Do you think they're going to make it a big pink birthday cake inside?
Inside? I'm
joking, obviously.
I wish they would. Well, they painted that castle so pink it already is almost the Pepto-Bismol shade of the birthday cake castle. Oh, they are the same. What is the same, Teets?
So, but that's interesting, and we'll definitely keep y'all updated if we find out any more about Cinderella's royal table. And I did see that about Cinderella because we were considering it for our Mickey Gras trip. They don't guarantee that Cinderella is going to make an appearance, but I think they just, that's a CYA for them. But Cinderella pretty much pops out.
Yeah, so that's what, like, when I go and book it, like, it's in big red writing. Oh, All Ears. Okay, they are the same. Thanks, Teets. When you go to book it, it's like red alert everywhere. Character dining is not available at this location. So while they still are trying to get over $60 from you per adult for a 3-course lunch with no characters.
It's a lot of money.
At least they're not forcing you to prepay for it like they used to do when it was characters. Yeah. And even the one meal that I did book that will have characters didn't ask for a prepay. So that's nice. So
yeah, Garden Girl didn't ask for a prepay either.
So that's something to think of. So yeah, that's nice when you're trying to book like for 6 people to go to a character meal that's $60. You're not like, oh, that's going to be $400 for you to lock in this time. It's so excessive. But so I was able to pretty much get, with the exception of Cinderella's royal table, there's quite a bit of dining availability in early to mid-April. If anyone is thinking of going, then most of the promos that we're seeing right now run through middle to end of March. And they both, Disney and Universal, are being pretty good about, you can book up until like the day before the promo ends to travel under that promo tab. So they're definitely still trying to go for all of us here in these southern neighboring states.
And again, this buy 3 days, get 2, this 30% off selected rooms through June. These are not the last promotions that we're going to see this year. And the reason I feel confident saying that is that I can still book nearly every resort, not every room category at every resort, but nearly every resort that was available at the beginning of these promotions is still available. So that's telling me they're not booking up. They still have availability. They still need heads and beds. So they're going to be offering some more promotions. I'm kind of excited to see what they are. I like when they do fun ones. Yeah. We were talking about some older promotions that they did that were more creative than just like a percentage off a room or free dining. Free dining is not coming back. I feel like we have to say that every time we say free dining. Free dining is not coming back.
It's not free dining. We need to think bigger than free dining. We need to think free park days. Tickets. Free tickets. That's what we need to think about. Free tickets. Free park hopper.
We were talking earlier, does Disney bring back the Fast Pass before we started the live? Does Disney bring back the Fast Pass, but at a paid, is it a paid thing, or is it included if you stay on property. They've basically gutted all of the reasons to stay on property. So does that become, 1 fast pass at a value, 2 at a moderate, 3 at a deluxe, none if you're off property? Like, there's so many creative things that they can do. I mean, if us as lay people are thinking about this, people not working for Disney, you have to think the Imagineers are coming up with some pretty creative promotions to get people in the park.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of think we are going to see some combo of fast passes or free water park access for the duration of your park days, or we're going to see free tickets or free days if you're staying on site, because that really is one way to get people back from, rental houses and off-property Marriott, Holiday Inn, Best Western, that kind of stuff.
Staying at Universal, staying at what's their like $29 a night hotel.
Endless summer. Yeah, go get to that before it becomes Cheer and Pop Warner Central.
Mm-hmm.
So the other one I just saw, and it's not for everyone, but it sure did pique my interest, is some of the Adventures by Disney. They're starting to take over some of the really, really specialized cruises. They've added those into their portfolio. And one I have my eye on because I've always wanted to go to the Galapagos Islands and see those blue-footed boobies and all those crazy, crazy fish and stuff. And so there's some really cool bonuses. If you've ever thought about doing a European river cruise, like during a holiday market season in Germany or Galapagos, they're offering a lot of really great deals, like starting up to like $750 in savings per person for some of these things. Now they're for later year 2022 sailing, so
you got plenty of time.
You've got time to save up too. And so these go through April 11th. I don't know if anyone's doing anything on that day, and most of the travel booking is through August 7th of 2022. So you've got some good time to save up. But like, I want to say the Danube River Cruise in Europe is $500 per person, and Galapagos is $750 per person. And I'm going to have to do the math on that, Teets, because it's not cheap.
It's pretty spendy.
But it's not $1 million.
Yeah.
I remember I've looked at it, and it's, if for instance, the Galapagos is the one that I'm interested in. And if it's something that you've priced at another cruise line, similar to like Celebrity, that goes there on their smaller ships, it's pretty in line with that because there are only X amount of boats that can travel that area. So,
right. And to that point,
and you save up money, this is a good price point to at least start looking at. We can put together a quote for you on that.
Right. These river cruises are not on the Disney ships. Like, just to be clear, to clarify for anyone, these are not on Disney-owned ships. They are renting space, essentially, on these boats that can go on these rivers in Europe. And if you've never been to a Chris Crindle market in Europe, it is it's a must-do. It is a must-do for sure.
I'm trying to call up the one itinerary they had because I thought of you when I saw this. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Drink glug wine to your heart's content. Ugh.
Yeah, there's so for that one, you've got just a regular Danube River cruise. You've got one that covers the Christmas markets. You've got one that does Oktoberfest in Germany. How would you like to do Adventures by Disney on a river cruise for Oktoberfest? And then you've got the Rhine, just a traditional Rhine River cruise, and then a food and wine festival, and then the Seine, which if I was doing Europe would probably be me because I love France. Is just a traditional Seine River cruise, and then one that is hosted by National Geographic. That's a photographic sailing. So there's a lot of options, and those go all the way into Christmas of 2022. So there's some pretty cool things for Adventures by Disney that they're offering that are part of their River Cruise series or their Exotic Cruise series. Yeah. Nothing so far on cruise lines. I don't anticipate we're going to hear anything from them probably until the end of the summer. What we know is that when Carnival decides they're going to shove off from Florida for the first time, you're probably going to get a 2 days heads up on that one, because Carnival's just right. Carnival is the Florida and the Governor DeSantis of cruise lines. They've been ready for 6 months to go.
They're just waiting.
They're just waiting. Epcot is already getting ready for Flower and Garden Festival, and I feel like, well, we've only got a month, but they're already building the butterfly house. I saw pictures today that the waterways have been drained to start working on the Moana project. So Courtney's going to have some more construction walls at Epcot to see.
Always.
And then, the new Soul of Jazz exhibit in the lobby at American Adventure looks outstanding.
Very excited about that. I'm also very excited. They're also doing, they're recognizing Black History Month with music throughout Disney Springs as well. I think 3 days a week they're doing different, like they're doing a soulful Sunday. I was trying to pull it up before we went on. I think soul, jazz, and R&B maybe. But yeah, really highlighting different styles of music throughout Disney Springs during Black History Month. And I just think that's so cool. I'm really excited for that.
I'm really excited.
One of my favorite things about living in New Orleans is walking around, and not even in the French Quarter, just in the French Quarter, but like walking around random neighborhoods and just hearing live music, whether it's like a high school band practicing for Mardi Gras, or it's like the next Winston Marsalis practicing, just on the street corner. It's everywhere. Music is everywhere here.
Or a second line, or a birthday party, or just because someone felt like playing their trumpet outside.
Exactly. Music's everywhere here. And so maybe I'm projecting, and maybe it's not going to be like that in Disney Springs, but that's what I had in my mind when I was thinking about it today and getting excited.
It'll be it'll be like for us from here, it'll be a nice little taste of pre-COVID times, a little nice bit of normal just to have the music back.
Really, anyone performing live, like that's one of the things I miss. I miss live theater. I miss live music performance. Keely and I are theater geeks from way back, and I just miss it. Not necessarily performing myself, but seeing people perform and doing what they love and doing what they're talented at.
Yeah, and something that just brings joy and can just allow you to suspend reality for just a few short hours. Especially nowadays, we could all use just a little picking up and a little bit of happy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited I'm hoping the Soul of Jazz exhibit is still around there when I'm there in April, because that would be great. And I guess the only other thing that we're kind of watching out for at Epcot is Ratatouille. And so we speculated last week that it might be opening when both Courtney and Whitty are in town at the parks, because just out of the blue, they blocked main gate passes and cast member access. And so we saw today that cast members are finally allowed to bring family and friends with them to Hollywood Studios. And it looks like their cast member access to Epcot is back on for that week that we previously thought was going to be. They can't bring friends and family, but cast members then could go. Yeah, so maybe a soft open is in the cards for then. I kind of feel like that thing is ready to go. If we're already seeing people on Raptor, why can't we just have that already? Teets, chime in the comments. I'm sure you had something to say about that.
Water was drained because
Teets corrected me that the water was drained overnight, or because of overnight freezing, which I'm dubious about, because it hasn't gotten to freezing in Florida yet. No matter how much Floridians want to say there was like ice outside, it was still in the 50s. Like the temperature began with a 5.
Yeah.
You should know better than that, Teets.
He just thinks everyone is within, in a snowstorm like up in Wisconsin.
Yeah, I want to say he told us it was like 12 today.
Nope.
That's what he said. That's what Blog Mickey said. All right. I think
maybe that's what they're saying, but
maybe that's what they're saying. They're just trying to distract. Yeah. So we talked about Pop Warner and Cheer relocating to Universal. Speaking of Universal, it's not the same.
Nope.
Courtney and I know it's not the same.
Nope. You know the biggest reason it's not the same? Big pet peeve of mine. Gotta chime in. You can say what it is, and then I'll tell you my big.
No, go ahead. I want to.
No. Say what it is.
No, go for it.
Say what it is. So Universal does their Mardi Gras every year. However, it always extends at least a month past Mardi Gras Day. At least.
Oh my gosh! It's today. This year
it goes from like January to May.
It's going this year. It is going. It says it's closing on March 28th, and I guarantee you they will find a way to extend it in through April.
No.
And we all know this is like Milwaukee trying to move St. Patrick's Day to July. Mardi Gras starts on 12th night and it ends on Fat Tuesday. Why? Because you gotta go sober starting Wednesday through Lent. This is why we get to party leading up to Lent.
I am a good Catholic and I am a good New Orleanian, and you end Mardi Gras on Mardi Gras night. You go get your ashes on Ash Wednesday and you repent for 40 days. You don't extend Mardi Gras until whenever you want to make the money off of it. So I'll get off my soapbox. And if you want to book a trip to Universal Orlando for Mardi Gras, I guess I'll help you. But otherwise, I'm not.
I don't hear about it. So, yeah, I saw the menus. So this year what they're doing, they're not doing the parade. I also have an issue that they're
coming in to make fun of me.
I have an issue with their like theme song being Fito Fail Me Now. It's like, come on, that's not right either. They did a tribute store that they tried to make look like Preservation Jazz Hall, and I'm just like, they do a parade. This year they're not doing it. They're setting the floats up similar to what we're doing here, and you can like walk past the floats. But they're doing a carnival food festival, and this is why I think they'll definitely extend it into April. So they're pulling off of every country that does some kind of carnival or festival,
right?
Brazil, Spain, whatever. And then I'll have the themed food. So think like Food and Wine Festival. The best is I cannot wait to see, and I told Teets and them earlier today, I cannot wait to ratio this New Orleans Mardi Gras food to high heaven, because I saw the po' boys last year and it was 3 shrimp with coleslaw on a hot dog bun. So this year, the red beans and rice comes with shrimp or without?
Shrimp.
What? On your red beans and rice? That's not how this works.
No.
You do fried chicken.
Do they have anyone from New Orleans on their team planning this event? Because if so, they need to be fired. They're offering chicken, shrimp, and andouille gumbo. You know that roux is coming from a jar. Right. Their sandwich offering this year is a muffaletta. That is going to be served on a hot dog bun too. Gross. I cannot wait to see just how much of a disaster that is. Yeah. Yeah. And I love Universal. No, thanks. But so we'll keep you posted as I see the food pictures, because they should be doing reviews any day now. I want to say it starts like Friday. But people like it, and it gives them somewhat of an idea of what Mardi Gras is here. It's just not the same for us. It's a kind of different experience. You know, I'm going to go. We should get fingernails to go review this. Okay. Yeah, I'll get on that. I'm going to go. Are you guys going to go do Floats in the Oaks? Yeah, I think it's sold out. We haven't gotten tickets yet. But I would like to go. So in New Orleans, we obviously can't have parades. So in our big city park, they've just lined up all the floats, and it's like a reverse parade. Like you drive through in your own car. You can throw your beads at the floats. Yeah, it's like there's like 40 floats, so it's like 30 something parades Lent. At least their signature float and maybe one other. So you've got the big toilet from Tux, you've got Bacca Gator, you've got the Throne of Rex, you've got Yeah.
You've got Muses, the ducks, and then probably the big
The
shoe float that has to be out.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's either going to be Leviathan or Smoky Mary from Orpheus. Yeah, we all have, the parades all have like one, at least one, if not a handful of floats that they're traditionally known for. And then the rest of them kind of change over from year to year based on whatever the theme is. And so, that's been a down part for the city is it employs, like the city is just filled with artists that spend all year, a year or two in advance working on the big paper mache models and caricatures for the front of the floats, for painting the scrims along the side, all sorts of different things. So we've done this thing also in town called the Crew of House Floats, and we've all decorated our houses like parade floats. So we've been able to give some work to artists here in town. I decorated my house. It's decent.
It looks great. It looks great.
Thank you. Thank you. I had been working on mine for like 3 weeks and finally finished it up. And my neighbor across the street decided she was going to try and one up me. So now she's the Purple Rain House. She has a big Prince logo and all sorts of lights. So I've got to go back to the drawing board and figure out how to really get my house popping by Sunday. So
it's fun to drive around the city, to drive uptown and see all of the decorations on all the businesses and houses.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. It's not the same, but it's something new. And I have a feeling this is going to start a new tradition. If I had to guess, I don't think this is the last time we see people decorating their houses bigger and better for Mardi Gras. Because if there's one thing that Mardi Gras is, it's bigger and better and more obnoxious and more celebratory every year.
I can't even imagine. Like, I just remember seeing the videos of the first Mardi Gras after Katrina. I can't even imagine what it's going to be like next year. After this past 2020 was kind of a disaster. And then this year was just it's not allowed to happen unless you're a tourist, then you're allowed to come and go to Bourbon Street, hang out. Don't get me started on that. But I'm more than happy to just drive up and down Courtney Street and just throw NYX plushes and a bunch of crap from China I bought at Plush Apparel or Plush Appeal. Like, if you need a light up baton or, I don't know, I've got like rocket launchers. I've got all sorts of crap. I'm just going to I'm going to make Joe just throw it out of the sunroof. Fletch can catch it. Just for a little bit of Mardi Gras normal. So, because what is the life cycle of a plush animal in New Orleans? It's you catch it,
you donate it to somebody else. They
wash it. They put it in the attic for a year. They wash it, and then they throw it off another float the next year.
Or donate it to their school for their fair or something else.
Or dog. I have friends
dog, a chew toy. Yep.
They love that's. My dog loves the Tux poop emoji plushes. Those are his favorite. So I'm going to have to find a source for those. So I think that's I
think we've got, like we said, it was a slow news week. We kind of veered off into Mardi Gras, which is always fine. But we went over Soul, some of the promotions that are available. It's worth saying again, Keely and I are both travel agents, and we'd love to help you plan your next vacation. And we'll save you whatever money we can. We can help you plan as much or as little as you want.
Yep. And also, just our tip, if you've got your heart set on something in April or May that you may have booked or you may be thinking about booking, especially restaurants, just keep your ear here to us on Wednesdays, and we'll keep trying to give you updates. Like I said, I know that CRT being down or being closed hasn't been announced. If I see it pop back in, I'll be sure to let you guys know. But I also wonder if this is kind of what we're going to see happen while room and occupancy stays low after the spring break time through the end of the year. And Disney's just kind of banking on getting everything really, really nice and fun, and adding plussing things in a COVID-friendly way for the 50th in the fall. So,
is it also possible that it's just a glitch because we all know how great
I looked at every.
Disney's
I thought about that, but
is?
then I went and looked at I thought about that, but I went and looked at a whole bunch of other restaurants. Totally fine.
And
that is really
open.
the only one that I blocked out.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, we'll definitely keep y'all posted on Cinderella's World.
Like I booked Be Our Guest. So Be Our Guest is open. Crystal Palace was open. Everything else was open at Magic Kingdom except for CRT.
Yep.
Different castle. Much bigger. Well, again, this was the Line 39 Cabernet Sauvignon. You can find it on tap at BaseLine Taphouse, the place with the best music. Wish I could have found that and just played it on loop in the background tonight.
You can probably find this bottle locally at wherever you are, assuming you're not in a dry county. Poor you if you are.
Yeah.
You can probably find it locally for $10 or less.
Yeah. I'm thinking next Wednesday will be your.
Maybe my last show. Before I'm in Disney.
So last show before you're in Disney, last show before Valentine's.
Yeah.
I vote we bubbles next week.
I was going to say we need to do something sparkling. Yes.
So so we'll be back next week. Maybe I'll do another fun video and try and do something. I don't know. We'll something.
We'll come up with something fun.
We'll come up with something fun. Tomorrow I've got a happiest hour stream with Teets. Hopefully 1 and 2 will be able to join us. We're going live at 6 p.m. Central, and we are talking tiki drinks. So we are going to show you how to make the official cocktail of the Crescent Lake Club, the Lamu Libation. And we're going to rank some of our favorite drinks on property and maybe talk a little bit about some of those happy hour specials, especially at Disney Springs that they've got going on right now, especially since I know so many people are trying to head out for spring break. And now that they're feeling a little bit more comfortable with traveling, we'll give you some places to hit up at Disney Springs that have great discounts that should not be missed. And then Sunday, we're back at it, normal time, 1 o'clock Central Time. So from Courtney, I'm Keels. We're the Crescent Lake Club. We'll see you next Wind Down Wednesday. Bye, everybody.
Have a great one. Bye.